Hi you guys, welcome to a brand new episode on Feather Nest Studios, where everything art and magic combine to create beautiful, beautiful miniatures. Today is going to be the very first episode in a brand new series that I am so excited to bring you. But this is also the very first video that I am uploading on this channel ever. So go ahead and make sure to subscribe because you will be one of my very, very first subscribers. And you guys are originally the OG people here. So I will always celebrate you guys and love you and thank you so much for the support. I want to make sure to introduce myself to you guys. My name is Raven. I am an aerialist, I am a spiritual coach, and I'm an artist. And I started doing miniatures about a year ago when the pandemic started. I really let myself just dive into it, and I absolutely adore doing this. In today's video, I am going to be making the foundation to a project that I have been wanting to work on for so long. It is going to be the, drum roll, the Spellman Mortuary. Okay, I'm really excited about this because I have been sitting on this idea for a year now. But when I started doing miniatures, I started my fairy doll house, which eventually I will make a video going over this house, but I wanted to make the Spellman house so bad. The reason I had to wait is because I knew I was going to be moving and this is going to be a big project. And now that I'm in my new place, I have the space for it and I am so ready to get started on this. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down why I chose the Spellman Mortuary for my fan-based project. I'm going to also be breaking down basically the start of how you build a dollhouse from scratch. I wanted to make this educational and entertaining, especially if you are a Spellman fan. But even if you are not, I really hope that you enjoy just learning about making miniatures because it's such a fun little world. This video is gonna have a little bit more talking versus making. But this is so important because you guys are gonna need to see the foundation of how to make the blueprint and as well as the first level of the model house. I really highly suggest if you're gonna make a house yourself to make a model version, a tiny version of your tiny house, just so you can work out the kinks, because you don't want to use your big supplies and the expensive stuff to basically play around with to see if it works or not. But first, I want to tell you guys why I decided to make this house. If you guys are familiar with the Sabrina series, then you've probably seen the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. Now, this is what the house is being based off of, but my love for the story of Sabrina goes way back before that, and even before Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So originally, Sabrina is part of the Archie comic books, and I was an avid collector of Archie comics. I was so into witchy stuff, witchy anything as a kid, and that kind of makes sense now as an adult because for a living, I actually am a spiritual coach, so it's not very shocking. But as a child, I ended up, of course, getting into the show Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I absolutely loved. And my best friend's name was Sabrina, and we bonded, weirdly enough, over making spells. We did one on her brother, and he ended up kissing the girl that we, put a love spell on. And so me and her thought that we were extremely powerful witches that nobody should mess with. We were both really into the show. Her name was Sabrina, so she was obviously really into the show. And then, strangely enough, way before the Netflix series came out, Sabrina actually worked at a funeral home and she did the makeup for, the people that had passed. She basically helped fill in any, if there was a hole, she would help fill it in, or she just put on makeup, she'd help dress them. And her dream was to one day own her own funeral home. But unfortunately, she passed away when I was 17 and she was 19 in a car accident. And this was years before the, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina came out. So when the show had come out, I know 100% she would have been absolutely ecstatic to see that it was a funeral home. And I know she just would have loved it. I have a deep, deep love for the series. I'm not exactly happy with the way that it turned out. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think the writers kind of messed it up. But the thing is, Sabrina is so much bigger than just one single show. And I feel like the story in itself, it has switched many mediums from comic books to a kid series to this dark, witchy, satanic, weird stuff. The actual storyline has just gone through so many mediums that I feel like even this series and this project that I'm building is just a continuation of feeding into the Sabrina universe. And so I'm really excited about it. And I knew when I watched the show, I literally, the whole time, I'm thinking that house is so cool. When I saw the house and the weird hallways and the walls, I knew that this was the miniature project for me. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the first little bit of it and let's get started. So I decided to go ahead and show you guys where I'm at in the project. So as I'm filming this, I've actually already created the base and the first room of the Spellman house. And so I figured I might as well show you guys what you're getting into so you know what my miniature style looks like. Everything I'm making is basically out of items you can find in your everyday hobby store. You don't have to cut wood, you don't have to make anything, where I'm using frozen boxes, I'm using foam board, mat board, glue, and paint, basically to create everything so far. I have created the first room, which is going to be the living room, and I want to show you guys the outside. As you can see, there's the infamous black paint. I have not done the windows, of course. And then as we turn in, here is some of the first room. Let me shine a light for you. Yeah, so as you guys can see, oh, it's hard to do. As you guys can see, I've already started on the wallpaper and the fireplace, which does light up, and I'm excited to share that with you. But I just wanted to give you kind of a glimpse about what this is gonna be about. This entire board is the foundation, so it is a big project. So basically, to start this project, I had already made a few different blueprints, but I wasn't really sure of what I wanted. And this is probably going to be the same for you if you're doing this house or if you're going to do a different house. It's good to just give yourself a lot of room and space to experiment and see what it is that you like. So I made a few alterations on my original blueprint plan, and to really see if I was giving myself enough room, I decided to go ahead and pin into a cork board and then to attach string to it to see if it was big enough. This actually proved to be very beneficial because I was able to put little miniature furniture onto the board to see the actual size of the space. I first started my blueprint, I made a list of the rooms that I really wanted to make sure were included in the project. And I'm going to be breaking down the first level of those rooms for you today. But I might not get so much into the higher levels just because I am still actually playing around with what I want with them. But in today's video, you are going to see a full layout of the first floor. And like I said, I put little furniture in there just to make sure that it was the right size, and I highly recommend you do the same. And as you guys can see, this is what I ended up coming up with. And I want to just go ahead and break down a little bit of what the spaces are going to be. The middle space right here is going to be the staircase, the infamous stairs. And then of course I'm going to have the little entryway. Then right beside it is going to be the living room, and this is going to be the funeral home. And then in the back, it's going to be the kitchen and the herbal room. Once I felt pretty happy with the layout that I had made for myself, it was time to actually make the blueprint. And if you're going to be doing 1/12 scale, it's good to know that 1 inch of your project is going to equal 1 foot of actual objects. So the way you can make it off of a grid board is 1 square equals 1 inch. And that just makes things really cohesive and easy to understand. And certain things I learned while doing this are that, the average walls are about 9 inches high. So that would be 9 squares. So basically, I was able to actually measure the board that I had made and then just translate that onto the squares. And the trickiest part about coming up with this blueprint was that I really wanted to highlight the front of the house. I wanted that to match the front of the house in the show. But the tricky part is that often they don't shoot inside of the house that they show on shows. So it was a trick trying to figure out how to fit the rooms that you see in the TV show into the house. And as you will see with my project, I couldn't make it exactly like the layout of the house because I still had to find ways to show off the rooms and to make sure that everything could fit into the size that I have. So like one of the things, for instance, is the entryway is going to be behind the staircase. So you really won't be able to see very much into the entryway. But for me, it was more important to show off the staircase than the entrance. So there's like little details like that are going to be different from the show. And so once I had what I wanted, I went ahead and made copies of just the bases. So each one of these sheets are basically the floor level of each of the levels. And these were important because they basically show what I'm going to be making out of foam board as the complete base. And so once I had that cut out from my original blueprint on the grid, I went ahead and cut it out of the chipboard, which again, you can just use anything from a frozen box, or you can actually buy chipboard, but this is a good way to recycle. So go ahead and trace it and cut that out, and make sure to do that twice so that it's double thick. And then you have your baseboard. And then I went ahead and made the walls. Like I said, most dollhouse walls are 9 inches high. So I just did 9 inches of grid line. And so all the walls are going to be the same size. So that makes it pretty easy. So I just went ahead and cut out 9-inch strips, or I guess 9 grid strips. And then I double glued them so that they would be strong. I only did that because I want my model house to survive a very long time, and that just kind of assures its safety. So my next step in my project is going to be to start building out my model house. And in order to do that, I know that I need 9-inch walls all across. And that makes it quite easy. Knowing that they're all 9 inches, I went ahead and did 9 squares on every single one of the walls. And the way I did it was I did 9 across and then the width down. And you might want to try it a different way where it's 9 down just so it matches the actual layout of the walls. But for me, I just found this to be easier. And I labeled each one of the walls, which I highly, highly suggest you do, because there are so many little pieces in this project that it is really easy to get confused on what is what. And so once I had the sizes that I wanted, I went ahead and started to cut out my chipboard to match the project. And this way I can go ahead and start gluing them down onto the base. And to make my life easy, I decided to just use hot glue because hot glue takes instantly. And you will see throughout this project that the different types of glues you use are very important for you to know the difference in dry times, because sometimes you do want something that's going to take instantly that you don't have to hold. And then other times you want to use a glue that is more sturdy and long lasting. But because this is paper and it's just my practice model, I'm not going to use a tacky glue or a PV glue that's going to take a while to dry, because then I'd have to hold it forever. So I just went ahead and used the hot glue to put everything down. And here is my final model house project. So I completed all the walls, and as you can see, this is basically a small version of what the big house is going to look like, where we have the living room, and then we have the stairwell, and then we turn it into the funeral home, the kitchen, and the herbal room, as well as like a little hallway to peek in to the rest of it. And so I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I also did the second level as well, which I will show you guys once we get to that stage. But I'm really hoping you like it so far, and I'm excited about this project. So let's go. All right, you guys, that is all I have for you for today's video. Yay, yay, yay! We did the very first video of the series, and I'm so excited to start this journey with you. I hope you come back for next week's video. It's going to be building the walls and the wooden panels of the first room. So I will see you guys then. Again, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to give this video a like if you would like to see more of these, and to let me know what you think. What do you think about this project, and what suggestions or things are you excited about? So until then, I will see you later. Bye.